When I was in my mid-20s, I was hired as a salesperson at a very popular high-end women's clothing store, and within 1 month of my first day, I was promoted to management of my own store in the same clothing chain. Today, I'm going to tell you about the 6 things I did that helped me move from salesperson to store manager within 1 month of being hired. Now, full disclosure, this was 20 years ago. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I do not work in retail clothing. However, I did for about 15 years. And the things that I learned, the ways that I learned to promote myself and ultimately move into multiple different management roles are still things that you can use today to move up and get into that leadership role that you aspire to be in. So, full disclosure aside, let's get right into the story. I had started as a salesperson in a popular women's retail store chain on the East Coast. This is actually a national chain, but the store I was working in was on the East Coast, where I'm originally from. And within 1 month, I was offered a position, not as an assistant manager, but as a store manager at a very high profile location downtown. Now, how did I do this? Well, there were 6 things that I did that I prioritized at the time that helped me get that promotion as quickly as I did. And the first one was I was not shy about sharing my goals. Now, when I was hired on at the store and taking that role as a salesperson, I knew in my heart that that was not the role that I wanted to stay in. I had worked in retail management before and I knew I wanted to move up. However, in this particular store, the only position available was that for a salesperson. And at the time, I needed a job, so I went ahead and took that position. Now, it could have been easy for me to just put my head down and say, I'm going to prove myself over time. I'm going to show them what a great salesperson I am, and eventually, maybe I'll be able to move into management. But instead of taking that tack, that could have taken me months and possibly even years to move up through the ranks. I decided that I was going to be very vocal about sharing my goals, and not only with my direct supervisor, who was the store manager at the time, but with her boss as well. So in retail, much like other industries, the district and or regional managers will often come out to the locations once a month to provide additional support and training on site with the store manager and the staff. And just like any other industry or any other retail store, our district manager and regional manager would also come for regular visits. Well, when that district manager came out, I didn't avoid her. I didn't just do my job as a salesperson. I went up and introduced myself, and I let her know what my background was and what my goals were for moving forward, that I wanted to be a retail store manager for their company, and I wanted to do that as soon as possible. So the first thing I did was sharing my goals. I told my store manager and I told her boss what my goals were and the vision I had for growing my career within that company. So that is my first tip for you. No matter where you are in your career, if you want to move up into leadership or excel in your career in any way, the first thing you need to do is be very vocal about your goals. The truth is that your manager or supervisor, your boss, will not know that you want to move up and take on a leadership role or a role with any kind of additional responsibility unless you let them know that. And you'll have planted the seed in their minds that not only are you a potential good fit for this higher position, but that you're interested in taking it as well. The second thing I did to get promoted within 1 month of starting as a salesperson and moving into store management was to offer specific solutions. So whenever there was a problem in the store, say there was a customer who was unhappy about a purchase or confused or needed some help, instead of waiting for my boss to take the lead, I offered solutions. I would go right up to the customer and say, hey, it looks like you might need some extra help. Let me see what I can do. And then I would simply offer the solutions that I could within the best of my ability. Good leaders, effective leaders, they're always thinking a step ahead. They're always looking for how they can provide solutions to problems. So if you want to see yourself as a leader at some point, you need to be somebody that comes up with solutions and offers them and shares them and acts on them and takes initiative on them. This is a powerful shift for you to make. Start stepping up and offering solutions and taking action on them without waiting for your supervisor or your direct manager to come along and ask you for your ideas, or without them having to do it themselves. Now, the third thing I did to help me get promoted from sales to sales manager within 1 month was to share my accomplishments. While my manager knew that I had been a retail store manager at a past job, her boss didn't. District managers, regional managers, people who are a skip level, a leader, or your boss's boss, they don't always know your background and your qualifications. They don't always know your accomplishments and what you've successfully done in past positions. So it is your job to share those accomplishments so they have a better understanding of everything you have to offer. Now, going back to this position when I wanted to move into sales management, something I had to do was talk about my previous successes and accomplishments as a retail store manager. And I was very specific. I talked about how I increased sales in my store and how I took it from one of the lowest performing sales stores in my district to one of the top performing sales stores in my district. Now, speaking about your accomplishments may not be something you are yet comfortable with. And if that's true for you, if speaking about your accomplishments makes you feel uncomfortable, then this is going to be a really important place for you to prioritize your efforts in order to move into leadership or management. Because if you're not talking about your accomplishments, if you're not talking about your past successes, then the people who can make the decisions, the leaders who make the decisions about you moving up to the next role will have no idea what you're really capable of. Now, if this is an area that you struggle with, I want to pause really quick and tell you that I can help. In fact, this is something I've helped many clients with before. Being able to talk about yourself in a way that emphasizes your past successes but doesn't come off as egotistical or bragging is a skill, and it is one that we all need to have. So if this is something you would like help with developing for yourself so you can move up into that coveted leadership position, then check out the link in the drop down below and click on it and book a free strategy call with me today so I can talk to you about how I can help you build skills in this area. Now, getting back to my story of how I moved from a salesperson into a sales management role within 1 month. And the next thing I did was prioritizing speaking to higher ups. Now, I've already alluded to this in the past examples I've given of things that I did, the strategy that I took, but I want to really emphasize how important this was. When the district manager came to the store, I did not try to blend in. I did not just focus on waiting on customers or helping out customers or sweeping or putting out merchandise or any of the other things that were responsibilities in my role. I did those things too, of course. I wanted her to see me doing my job. However, I also made sure to prioritize time with her. I wanted to make sure she knew me, she knew about my past accomplishments, she knew about my goals, and that I was top of mind for her as soon as a position opened up in her district. You can do this too. Just because you may not be in a visible leadership role right now, that does not mean that you can't be having conversations with the people in your company who will make those future leadership decisions that could affect you. Think about who are the people besides your direct manager or boss that you could be developing and building relationships with so that you stay top of mind when those leadership positions become available. The fifth thing I did to move up into store management within 1 month was prioritizing good work habits. Now, good work habits can mean many things and can mean different things to different people, but I'll throw out a couple specific examples of what I did. Things like prioritizing time management and maintaining positive relationships with my coworkers. So as far as time management, this one can't be emphasized enough. Being on time or early, showing up ready to work, putting aside your personal life, putting aside anything else that's going on with you, and coming in with the right attitude at the right time, ready to serve and do your best for your job is essential to be identified as a potential leader. Now, another one, something incredibly important in every kind of work environment, was prioritizing building good relationships with my coworkers. By prioritizing being a supportive coworker, helping out, offering to do a little extra if they were having a tough day or they were overwhelmed by a customer, offering praise and affirmation, celebrating their successes, and at the same time also not getting caught up in any of the store gossip or any of the negative kind of behaviors. In every work environment, you're going to have people who complain or maybe kind of get caught up in the negative parts of the job. Customers who aren't so nice, clients who aren't so nice, a tough day, a decision they didn't agree with. But if you want to move up into leadership, you have to think about how those things are going to reflect on you, how engaging in those kinds of behaviors and conversations are going to reflect on you. So for me, I made it a priority to make sure that it was only engaging in very positive, very solution-focused type discussions and being supportive of my coworkers and avoiding any gossip or negative conversations. Now, the sixth and final thing that I think I did that really helped me get promoted to that management position within 1 month was that I acted like a leader. So even though I was a salesperson in the store, basically, if you want to think about it this way, the lowest level of the company in terms of the store dynamics, I still acted like a leader. I still showed up in full leadership presence, simply acting self-assured and confident in my ability to do my job and to be a valued member of the team. Having leadership presence is an essential skill to have if you want to move into leadership or management, and it is one that I highly suggest you prioritize if that is the goal you have for yourself. So that's my story. That is how I moved from salesperson to sales manager within 1 month. How I went from a beginner level role in this company to running my own store within 1 month. I hoped my story helped you and that by pointing out these 6 areas that I focused on, you have some ideas now, some inspiration about areas you could be working on or focusing on so that you can move into that coveted leadership role that you aspire to have. If these suggestions were helpful, then I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below, along with any suggestions for future videos that you would like to see on my channel. I'll see you in the next video.